Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. As you can see, the merry band is separated. I'm here at downtown Chicago at the Channel 7 studios. I'll be anchoring sports all weekend for ABC 7. Stacey and Tim are in the lovely Palatine office space. And Stacey, who's that to your right over there?
Well, this is we found him in the parking lot. He's a true Chicago sports fan, and he's he's a little disappointed in how sports are turning out in Chicago lately. Chicago's supposed to be a city of champions, and he likes to he's really upset about how the teams are playing right now. And we thought we'd bring him on the show. He wanted to come on and said, "Hey, I want to say a few things." So we said, "Hey, come on," So we found him in the parking lot.
And I think he's gonna have some sour words for the fans out here today.
That's an interesting story. What's your name, sour fan?
Byron.
Okay.
With no nickname yet. We got to come up with one. Big Bad Byron.
Big Bad Byron.
Well, we can't let him have the first word. Let's have Stacey have the first word about the unexpected surprise at the United Center. The Bulls beating the Milwaukee Bucks in overtime. That was exciting. The fans got into it. The players got into it. And boy, perfect medicine after a 5-game losing streak, Stacey.
Well, I tell you what, it was fun. I mean, we go into overtime. The whole game was exciting. I mean, you're on the edge of your seat the whole game. It was like 17 lead changes. They had their full roster, with the exception of Pat Connaughton, who wasn't there, but they were full roster. And the Bulls came out. They came out with a different energy. Of course, you're missing Demar and you're missing Zach LaVine. So I think everybody thought we were going to probably get blown out by 30. Leaving my house, my kids go, "Oh yeah, you guys are gonna get murdered tonight." I'm like, "Man, whose kids are you?" I'm getting ready to go to work. You guys give me a little encouragement as I go to work. He's like, "Dad, it's over. It's over. Just put a fork in them. They're done." And so, when they came out yesterday, I think they started off. They were like down 9-2. I think people were like, "Oh no!" But even though they were down 9-2, there was a different feel about that 9-2. You know what I'm saying? A couple missed shots here and there. But it just felt different from what we've been seeing, Mark, over the last couple of weeks where they get down 18-1, 20-1. It was just a different feel.
I thought Alex Caruso was spectacular, not only hitting the shot that sent the game to overtime, but just his effort in pulling the young guys together, diving on the floor for loose balls, getting them extra possessions. It seemed like with Zach and Demar out, Caruso took it upon himself to lead this group. You could see that coming out of timeouts. He'd gather the guys together, make sure that they were all on the same page with their assignments. What did you notice courtside about the way he kind of led this group?
Well, I mean, he does what Alex does all the time. So, I mean, his role never changes. He's going to come out and he's going to play hard. He's going to give you maximum effort. He's going to dive on the floor. I mean, that's something that we've come to expect since he's been in the Bulls uniform. So that didn't surprise me at all. I think what really surprised me the most was how energetic Vuk came out and looked. Like he looked like the Orlando Vuk, the guy that's scoring inside, outside, doing, the assist. I've been saying this from day one with this kid. It's like, play through him because he's such a team player. He's not going to force up shots. He's not going to take bad shots. And they never do. And last night they played through him. I mean, 29 points. That's his best game. I would have to say that's his best all-around game since he's been in a Chicago Bulls uniform. I mean, 29 points. He had, I think, 6 assists. He had 12, 13 rebounds. He looked like he was out there having fun. Bulls had over 30 assists last night. They shared the ball. He had 8 guys in double figures. They looked like they were having fun. They never panicked. Even when, Milwaukee, went on a little run here and there, they didn't panic. And I thought both those guys as veterans, and I said before the game that both those guys, Caruso and Vuk, are the veterans of the team now. Those other guys being out, they're the elder statesmen. They're going to have to set the tone. I thought both those guys did.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room, being that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan sat out last night's game because of injury, and the Bulls had one of their best team efforts. Now, both Caruso and Vuk were quick in the post-game locker room to point out that those two are not connected, that they just basically came out with a new spirit and really wanted to end this losing streak, that it had nothing to do with Zach and DeMar being out. What was your perspective, Stacey, in terms of the impact of those guys being out? Because I saw numerous shots of the television broadcast of Zach and DeMar standing up and high-fiving guys. They were involved in the game. It's not like they had checked out mentally.
Yeah, I mean, that was good to see because, they were on the bench. They were cheering their teammates on. This is a very good team as far as they want to see each other do well. There's no bad blood with anybody on the team. I'm around this team, all the time. And there's not a guy on this team that is selfish. There's not a guy on this team that wants more for himself than others. They cheer for each other. And it's great seeing them on the bench. They could have easily stayed in the locker room. They didn't even have to come to the game if they wanted. So they were on the bench, and every time the Bulls made a good play, they were standing up, cheering, high-fiving, dancing. They were into the game. And then when Caruso hit that shot, you would have thought, Zach's foot was okay because he jumped up and basically did like a 360, and Demar was the same way. So it was really good to see because we flashed the camera over on the bench a few times, and not just to see what their reaction was, but just see how much fun the teams were having, the team was having. And it was really good to see. And then Billy Donovan, you got to give Billy Donovan a little credit because this is the style of play he's been wanting to play. Okay, let's just be real. He's not wanting to play this isolation ball that, with two ball dominant guys because the way they played last night, the game is easy. Everybody got involved. And I still think, and I said this last night about those two guys, is that sitting over there and watching the game, you get a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? You get to watch, you get to see, okay, why does this look so easy for them, but it looks so difficult for us? And hopefully they realize, like, hey, I got to start trusting my teammates. I got to let, Patrick Williams have the ball. I got to let Kobe make decisions with the ball. I've got to let Vuk score when he's got it going on and not so much I got to do every single thing because I think in their minds, they feel like in order for this team to win, they have to have the ball in their hands. They have to make the decisions. They have to be the one that leads the team in scoring, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Before we get to sour Bulls fan Byron, I got to check in with Whispers. Hey, did you have a good Thanksgiving, Whispers?
I did. It was great. I had no green bean casserole, which was
nice. My gosh.
There he goes, right away with that.
You knew that was coming. But looking at that game, though, last night, seeing Patrick Williams looking like he was a different player and on a mission and had that scowl going on his face, it was good to see. Where even Giannis backing off of one of his dunks. That was nice to see.
Hey, Whispers, I got a friend request on Facebook from your wife. I feel like part of the family now.
As you should.
But you're not getting invited to barbecues, but you're part of a Facebook request. Wow.
Did she send you her green bean casserole recipe?
Oh, wow.
I didn't get that.
They're all the same.
We're in Toronto.
Yeah, you open a can of soup, right?
Hey.
That's right. Soup and some French onions.
Hey, we're in Toronto, right? We have Thanksgiving dinner in Toronto. So it's me, Mark, and our guy, our stage manager, Matt. And so they had a green bean casserole. And Mark said he should have took a picture and sent it to you.
I did.
I would have appreciated it.
She appreciated it too.
Oh my God.
Of course.
It was. We were very appreciative that the hotel did that, the Bulls did that.
Yeah.
Being away from home again on Thanksgiving is really tough, away from your family, and for them to set up a ballroom and really set up a lot of food. It was different food. It wasn't just turkey and ham, and it was salmon. They had all kind of stuff.
How about a turducken? Did you get a turducken yet?
What is that?
That's Christopher Walken was talking about last week. That delicious 3 birds in one.
Oh my God!
Right.
Yeah. No.
Hey, Whispers, they even had cold Canadian beer on the spread. It was nice.
Oh, Molson and Molson.
It was full service.
Yes, full service.
Yeah. No Moosehead.
They might have. No, they didn't have no Moosehead. No, they had Stella. No. They had all the nice wines. It was a nice little setup.
I'll wait to ask a Raptors rookie if he's tried a Moosehead.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, we saw James Wade there. He's now an assistant coach with the Raptors. We got a chance to visit with him. We're going to get him on the show in the coming weeks. He talked about the fact that he left the Sky in midseason and it really broke him up to have to do that, but it was just an opportunity that was too good to pass up. I know a lot of people were wondering about the circumstances, but James is happy up in Toronto and he wishes the Sky and their fans nothing but the best. Stacey, since you're there and I'm not, I'm going to let you start the interrogation of a young Byron. What does he want to share with the audience?
Well, okay, let's talk to Mr. Byron over here. Byron, since we're talking to Bulls, okay, it's interesting in getting a fan's perspective because I have a perspective because I'm covering the team. Mark covers the team. Whispers doesn't do anything except just annoy the shit out of people. But But since you're a fan and you've been watching this team for a long time, give us your perspective on what this season has done for you and what do you think the problems are?
This season hasn't done anything for me. Last season hasn't done anything for me. I've been notion, and Whispers and I have had this conversation many times where we're talking about DeRozan, we're talking about Levine. They didn't play last night and they won. Why were they on the team for the last 2 years when you're going to draft these young players and they don't get any playing time? It's the same thing. Patrick Williams. Oh, you're talking about him dunking on Giannis last night. What does that matter? He should have been doing this about 2 years and a half ago. But no, let's keep DeRozan, an isolation player who's had his best value 2 years ago in like an 8-game stretch when he should have been dealt. Most people say, oh, you can't tank. We're Bulls fans and we expect greatness. And I'm tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of, oh, you might make the play-in game. Who cares about the play-in game? I don't care about the play-in game. If you're watching the play-in game, I don't know what's wrong with you. They only created the play-in game for LeBron James. I mean, for those they can make it. I mean, why are we going to jump on this bandwagon? We won 6 championships back in the day. I don't want to play in a play-in game. I'm not even trying to win one. I'd rather have guys that you can draft with upside. If they don't develop, that's on the coaching staff. And what, is Kobe White the only guy we've been able to develop? It's just ridiculous. And we don't have any draft picks. We talked about Vuk. Wow, he had a 29-point game last night. Is he worth all the draft picks that we haven't had for like 3 years? No, he's not. Everybody's like, oh, Victor Wembanyama is going to be in this draft. It's like, great. We're not going to get him because we have to give up our draft picks. It's ridiculous. What's going on in this organization? I can't even watch anymore. I'm so irritated. And I'm on X, and I'm an ex-Bull fan on X right now. That's what I put on my profile.
So what about the last draft picks? What do you think about the last few picks they've had?
Well, Dan Terry, fine player, but I mean, how many minutes is he going to play? He had a great summer league game. Awesome. He had 45 in that game? I mean, has he played 45 minutes all season? I mean, we got him. It's just the development of players in this organization has been a zero, and I can't take it anymore. I don't mind us being bad. Why can we not be bad to get better later? We always have to put people in the seats and just try to win enough games to sell a few popcorn and some beers. I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. I'm serious. It's frustrating.
Objection. I'm objecting. Byron, I'm objecting. Okay. As a person who covers this team, okay, you're going to have hits and you're going to have misses. You're going to draft guys that you're going to say, oh, this guy looks like he comes to, let's say, use Patrick Williams at Florida State. He was the 6th man on his team. Okay, Scotty Barnes a year after was the 6th man on the team. He's really done well in Toronto. Sometimes you're going to hit, you're going to miss. I believe in my just watching this game, a lot of teams do this. They draft guys and they don't know what they're going to do with them when they get them because they're super talented, but they have other people playing in their position. In Patrick's defense, he has to play behind Demar and Zach LaVine. Okay, these are ball dominant guys, and we saw this last night. I know it's a small sample size. But if you look at all the games that Patrick Williams has played when those guys have been out of the lineup, he has had huge games. And it's documented. He's had huge games. So I believe, me personally, just watching last night, and I think the coaching staff has to see this as well, is that you've got to start developing, doing better at getting these kids like Patrick Williams to reach their potential earlier than year 5 and year 6. Because by that time, it's too late because by 5 and 6, most people are ready to give up on them. And then they go somewhere else and they end up being all-stars somewhere else. And you don't want to be a farm system for other teams. So I still believe in Patrick Williams. I believe, I know a lot of people don't believe it. And Mark, you can attest to this. Last year, all the people where I was fighting all these people about Kobe White. Oh, he sucks. He can't play. He's not this. He's not that. Trade him. Now look at how the sentiment is about Kobe White now, and that he's having a career year. And people are going, oh my God, we wouldn't be where we're at without Kobe. He plays hard every night. He shoots the ball, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it's about patience. Some develop faster than others, and some don't develop at all. We just got to hope that Patrick's not in that situation where he's not going to develop at all.
I like Patrick Williams. I liked him when they drafted him, but he was 19 when he was drafted. So you have to expect it's going to take some time to develop him, but you can't develop him when you're keeping a guy who loves to shoot in the lane, DeRozan, and he's not even a great three-point shooter, and Levine, who can't stay healthy, walking in and getting off the bus. It's like, why are you re-signing him and paying all this money for a guy that you're going to take more time away from developing guys? That's been my beef the whole time. I like Patrick Williams. I think he has some of the game. Now, the comparisons to Kawhi were a little ridiculous early. That was probably unfair to him, but the development, the coach isn't there just to coach the team every year, each game. They're there for development. And I don't know what's going on in the organization like you do, but it's just frustrating from my end. I had season tickets 7 years ago. I sold them. I have not looked back. I'm glad I can watch it on TV when I want, which is not very often anymore because I got better things to do with my time. They've wasted my time, and I'm frustrated. I expect better from this organization.
Okay, here's a question for you. What is it going to take for you to come back to the Bulls side and say, you know what? I'm seeing enough change. I'm seeing enough development. What is it going to take to bring you back as a fan?
I have liked Kobe. I liked him when they drafted him. I just think that I want to see a draft pick. I'm not talking like 18th or the second round. I'm talking about early and being bad enough to get some of these players. Because let's face it, how many great players are in the NBA that have been drafted like after 15? I know we drafted Jimmy Butler later in the year. That was great. That was one. There's not that many of them that are happening year in, year out. I mean, Victor's not falling to number 15 and other guys like that. I mean, obviously, this draft class, I haven't done enough work on it. I don't think it's that great, but that's typical. We'll probably be bad this year enough to get a pick.
To be honest with you, there'll be some gems in this year's draft, but the following year, the kid Cooper Flagg, who's the number 1 high school player, Carlos Boozer's son, is also a top player. There's going to be some very good players in 2 years coming out, and the gem of that draft is Cooper Flagg. It's going to end up playing at Duke this year. 6'11", athletic kid, high motor. I mean, just a superb athlete. And that's what everybody's going to be trying to get is that kid. So, and that's where the Bulls are in a dilemma right now. It's like, okay, do we blow it all up and, start rebuilding now? Because I made this comment last night in the game, is that in our division, just the Central Division, okay, Milwaukee and Chicago are the 2 oldest teams. Okay, Milwaukee's an older team, but they still have championship aspirations. They're good enough to win a championship.
For sure.
We're not at that level. We're not a championship team right now as constructed. Okay, let's just be honest. I mean, I'd be sitting up here lying and saying, yeah, we got a chance to win a championship. No, we don't.
A victory in November.
So when you look at the age of these 2 teams, the 2 teams that have ruled basically the Central Division at periods of time, Cleveland is younger. Cleveland's got a young roster. Detroit went young. They rebuilt. You're going to get your butt kicked 2 or 3 years. You're going to take a butt whipping by trying to develop young guys. But when those guys mature, as you saw Cleveland pick up one player, Donovan Mitchell, that changed him into a completely different team. That Detroit team is probably 1 year away from really, really being good. I know they've lost 14 games in a row. Matter of fact, I think we were the last team that lost to them, right, Mark? We were the last team.
We were.
Yeah. So
And they don't forget Indiana too.
Indiana. So those 3 teams have gone the youth route, and they're ahead of us in that aspect. So if I'm thinking of what I think the Bulls should do, I think you've gone, as far as you can go with the group that we've got now. And that was evident last night. And if last night we'd have came out there and the team went out there and got beat by 50, now you go, wow, we need some development. We need to really blow this whole thing up. But it gave people a chance to look at the team and go, man, maybe they haven't been playing up to their capabilities. Maybe they're not playing the style of play that can get more people involved. Because yesterday you had 8 people. I don't think we've had 6 people in double figures this year. We had 8 guys in double figures. They shot over 50%. They out-rebounded a bigger team. That team, Milwaukee, is huge. And if you told me the Bulls were going to not only beat the Bucks, but out-rebound them, out-hustle them, I would have said no. Especially with your 2 main players being out, I'd have said no. And so watching that yesterday, I was encouraged because that's how Billy Donovan wants to play. He's been saying that all year. Me and Mark talked about it on the broadcast. He's wanting to play that way. They played that way in preseason, share the ball, pass, cut, set screens. But we have 2 guys that I feel like, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I just feel like this is their games. They're ball dominant, and they've been very good being ball dominant. They've been very good since they've been here. But now we're not. We don't have Lonzo Ball, and we're not as good as we were when he was here. So now the game has to change because that's the one guy, and I keep telling people, he was the key to this team. No one, if you would ask anybody, was Lonzo Ball this important to their team? I don't think anybody would have said yes. No one would agree with that. He was the catalyst to this team because he took the ball, he got the ball to the right people, got Vuk easier shots, kept him involved. He got Demar high-efficient shots. Zach was more high-efficient with Lonzo there. Once Lonzo went out the lineup, Those guys now take the ball, and now they're making decisions with the ball, and their assist totals are not where they should be if you're going to be that ball dominant.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Stacey, what do you make of all the trade talk right now? I mean, our buddy Casey Johnson mentioned the fact that they may trade Zach LaVine first and then see what the roster looks like after that. Zach, the news today, is going to be out at least another week because of the right foot soreness. And the conspiracy theorists are already thinking, they're just going to hold him out till December 15th and then trade him. Where there's enough smoke, there's fire. And I think Zach at some point is going to be traded. It's just a question of whether that signals a complete rebuild or trying to retool around Demar and Vuk.
Well, and listen, I can't speak for AK because I'm not in the front office. That's above my pay scale. But if I'm playing GM, I'm not just giving him away, okay? Because he's still under contract to us. It's not like, Mark, we got Zach for 1 year and he's a free agent. He can walk in the summer. Now you're forced to do something with it, like James Harden. Philadelphia was kind of forced to try to get as much as they could for him, the best offer, okay? We're not in that position with Zach. Zach is still under contract with us. So if AK and Mark Eversley don't get what they think is a fair return for Zach, they can say, well, we'll just wait till next year. We don't have to do anything this year.
So what do you think about that Austin Reeves comment that came out?
What's that?
The Austin Reeves trade they were talking about to lower the expense and get a fair trade.
Listen. If you're the Bulls and LA is the only market you're dealing with, okay, you got to get fair value as much as you can. Okay, first of all, there's got to be a first round pick somewhere. Okay, that's number one. If you're not getting any first round picks, then it's not worth doing a deal. Second, I want young players. If I got to make that move, if I got to make that trade, I'm getting Rui Hachimura. I'm taking him because I think he's a very good young player, and he solves your small forward position. I'm probably going to take. I don't want D'Angelo Russell, even though he's playing really good for them right now. I just don't want him. He's hurt all the time, and you never know when he's going to show up. He's a great player when he's available, but you got to be available. I would take Reeves over him. I like the way Reeves plays. I think he's a tough, hard-nosed kid. I think he's like Caruso, probably a better offensive player than Caruso, but he's a competitor. He likes to compete. He's a competitor. So, and he's from Oklahoma, so that's another big thing. I would take him. And then I would probably try to get one of their bigs or one of their wings. Jackson Hayes, the center, the athletic center, or maybe a Cam Reddish or Vanderbilt, some long athletic wings. And then you solve a few problems when you get on the return. Because, Zach is year 10 now, and so you still can get a lot for him. But the Bulls are in position, they're just not going to give him away. So if you don't knock their socks off with a deal, they can say, well, we still got 3 more years with him, so we'll keep him here until we get the deal that we want. You'd be better off moving Demar because Demar is an unrestricted free agent, and they have to sign him, so that contract is movable. Plus, Demar is still a veteran that people would love to have on their roster. They can get buckets for him, especially a team that wants to go deep in the playoffs. He would be very, very intriguing to a team like the Lakers.
So obviously these trade rumors are going to follow the Bulls for the next couple of months. We'll be following that story very closely. But another story that has kind of captured the attention of some fan bases has been the in-season tournament. We're down to the quarterfinals. Obviously, it didn't catch fire here in Chicago because the Bulls lost all 4 games in full play. But,
need a drink.
You've got New Orleans and Indiana, 2 young teams that made the quarterfinals. And I'm sure the fans in those cities are really excited about it. And then Sacramento got in when they beat Golden State and right down to the wire in that game the other night. I think for fans in those cities, they really like this in-season tournament because it gives them a chance to win something that, they know they may not be a championship contender, but this is something they can get excited about.
Well, I think it even goes deeper than that, Mark. I think what it does is, the way it's currently set up, it's making the star players play longer than 2 quarters. You have to play to the very end of the game now, as we saw when we played Boston when they were trying to, going into that game, Boston had to win by 21 or more to advance. And so that forced them to keep their starters in the game and not sit out when they had a 30-point lead. They were still out there playing. I don't like that rule. I think that if there's one thing that I would change in that in-season tournament is that, blowout rule, whether you got to score as many points, trying to, if Orlando had 22, we got to score 23 to be able to get in. I think what they need to do is go back to the old CBA rules where you get quarter points. So depending on how many quarters you win per game in that tournament, let's say you play the Bulls and the Bulls are playing, Indiana. Bulls won the 2 times that they played. The Bulls won 5 quarters, to 3 quarters for them. So now the Bulls have an advantage of winning 5 quarters against everyone else. And then that's how you base it at the end of the day. So if that becomes the tiebreaker, then you go to quarters 1. And that's how the old CBA used to be.
Yeah, I think that's a better change because, you had Billy Donovan talking to the Celtics coach. He was upset about the fact they were hacking Drummond to try to drive up the score. Yeah, they don't need that in the NBA. I think your idea is a lot better, or just as some people have suggested, just take the tiebreaker being your overall record as to who advances.
Yeah, and that also stinks too because, just depending, let's say the Bulls were 0-3 and they beat someone, and then Boston beat all the top teams and they lost to someone they should have lost to, because not everybody's going to go undefeated. There's going to be 3-1 team. So that's where the tiebreaker comes in. And so I just think when you're putting the score up there and you're saying you got to win by 20 or 30, there's an unwritten rule in the NBA not running up the score. Okay. But I'm old school. Like, if you don't want us to score, then stop us. Okay. If you don't want us to score 21, you knew going into the game that the Celtics needed 21 points to advance. So that right there, you should have said to ourselves, like, look, we're going in to win this game, but if we lose, you ain't beating us by 21. So let's just go ahead and establish that right now. I think, we live in a society now where it's like participation trophies and, everybody gets a trophy. The team that went 8-0 who really went 8-0, they got the same trophy the team that went 0-8. And it's just, it kind of takes away and it kind of dilutes what it's all about, competition. And in the NBA, it's the highest level. It's not, it's the highest level. These are pros. So if you don't want us to score 21, stop us. Because that's how I would coach. Like, yo, we try to blow you out. We try to blow you out, get you out of here, and then I can rest my starters the second half. That's what we do when Phil was here, And I remember I got in a Twitter war. I've been in a lot of Twitter wars lately, Mark. I don't know if you've been following me.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. It's like the OK Corral, man. I'm like Wired Earp. I'm just fighting everybody. Okay. We're going over there. It's a gunfight. All right. I'm not losing any of them. So somebody pulls up a 1992 where we got beat by like 34, 37 points by the Knicks. Okay. And so unless you do your research, you can put anything out on social media and just vaguely not put the truth out there. You know what I'm saying? The people do that all the time. They just put out like little bitty things, little nuggets, and don't put the whole story. So this guy puts out there, we're losing by 37. You got beat by 37. You're saying that no one should lose that way. Listen, you're going to get blown out in the NBA. It's inevitable. Okay, because there's too many games. There's too many back-to-back games. You're going to see a blowout. There's not one team in the NBA that's never been blown out. Okay, but being blown out and not giving effort and not playing hard is 2 different things. 2 different things. So when we got beat by the Knicks, we had just came off a road trip where we had played 6 road games. We had to go play the Knicks. Okay, so we were exhausted. Michael Jordan sprained his ankle in that game. People tend to forget about that. So this guy just posted, we lose by 37, but he doesn't put all the elements that contributed to that loss. But he also didn't put in that we won the championship that year, and then we beat the Knicks that year in the playoffs.
Right.
Was it John Starks winning chance?
I don't know who it was. Whispers. But the guy was like so adamant, like, basically saying that, oh, you guys act like you never got blown out. I said, I never said that. I said, we didn't never not play hard. We did not compete because the one thing, Mark, you've been doing Chicago sports for a long time. And Byron here, as you can hear, he's a diehard, fan, Chicago sports fan. And what fans want to see in Chicago, especially because it's a blue-collar city, we don't mind you losing, but give me effort. Give me effort. Come out there and show that you care. And that's all fans want. That's why we got such a great fan base. We don't have fans like New York that boo you and jump off the bandwagon. Oh, boo, boo. Or the Lakers fans who show up at halftime because they're out, having lattes and they show up at halftime to watch the game. Our fans are true blue. And all they want is effort. That's all they want. They just want your effort. So when you put that Chicago Bulls jersey, and I said that the other night in Boston, you put that Chicago Bulls jersey on, that means something. Not just to you and your family, but to everybody who lives in this city, who gets up every day and puts in 50-hour-a-week jobs, going to work every day, who can't afford to come to the games because the tickets are too expensive. So you owe it to these people to come out and give a genuine effort every single night. And I thought last night, that was the tone that was set last night's game. And I think people appreciated that because I was reading the tweets and, people were like, oh my God, it was so much fun watching this, how they played last night compared to the first, 13 or 14 games. And people just want you to do that.
Yeah, you said.
All right, Byron, we're gonna talk about the Bears next. Before we let you go.
Yes.
Let's
got
go.
Anything else to say, Byron?
No, I appreciate
he's done. Stacey talked him down. He talked him off the list. Good job, Stacey. Hey, Whispers, tell everybody about our good buddy Jeff Vukovic and how they can take care of their insurance needs.
I thought Stacey
he's fired. He's done.
So something wasn't allowed.
He's done. You're going to sing the jingle. Okay, here we go. No. When it comes to insurance for your auto and home and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovic. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. And he's got one of the coolest jingles in the land. Whispers.
No, I know what you're doing.
You're
trapping me like a rat.
Christopher Walken. Do Christopher Walken singing it.
You're trapping me like a
rat. No. We're buddies. Go ahead, do it.
A nationwide is on your side.
Oh my goodness.
That was
Christopher Walken.
That was horrible.
I was always a song and dance man. What you don't know horrible. Is that I have my own Christmas album. It's out this year.
He's the only one that bought it, Mark. He's the only one with it on.
Hey, walking in a wonderland. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why don't you tell the folks about the hot sauce? Useful.
As you know, I was telling you last week about my turduckens, and it was fantastic as always. Put a little barbecue on there. And then the next day, after it homogenizes all the flavors, I put on some green sauce and a little bit of the red sauce. And it's delicious. You can make sandwiches, casseroles, anything you like. So
green bean casseroles?
No, it's never good with that. That's not anything you can save. It's already over. So what I suggest is put on my album, Walking in a Wonderland, my Christmas album, play little tunes, and then put some sauce on whatever you like, from crackers to your favorite steaks to anything that tastes good to you. But go to GimmeTheHotSauce.com. That's GIMME hotsauce.com, and use the code free shipping and get it shipped for free. I mean, it's a great gift. Just do it.
Yeah. I just saw the new shipment came in July. Let's go, baby. My boy Joe Groove. Shout out to Joe Groove, our stage manager, one of the best stage managers in the NBA. Yeah. He just realized that the hot sauce was in the Jewel out his area, and he bought some. He contributed to the funds. Thank you, Joe.
And in about a week, the Christmas coupon comes out in their flyer. Oh. It'll be the red and green for Christmas.
Oh,
very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to talk Bears and NFL next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We're back on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Time to talk a little bit of NFL. The Bears got a win on Monday night. Not exactly a thriller in terms of offensive production. They won the game 12-10 on 4 field goals by Cairo Santos. But I'll tell you what, Stacey, the defense is really becoming a factor. A lot of criticism about Matt Eberflus as a head coach, but it looks like he knows what he's doing as a defensive coordinator. They really made life miserable for Josh Dobbs. They intercepted him 4 times. I think their defense is really turning into an above-average NFL unit right now.
Well, that's always been their strong point, Mark. They've always had a good defense. And so just watching them fly to the ball against Minnesota was very encouraging. 4 turnovers. I thought Montez Sweat did a good job pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't seen that all year. And that makes a huge difference when you got a guy that can rush the quarterback, because he can't sit back there all day picking you apart. And that's what we saw early in the season, because they got no pressure on the quarterback at all unless they blitzed. So now you got a legit pass rusher that can put pressure on the quarterback and force the quarterback to have to make decisions quickly. And Dobbs is a young quarterback who's still learning the playbook. And I thought that really, really, kind of took him out of his game, because he was playing well up until that point.
Yeah, it opens up stuff for the other players then too. Brisker and some other opportunities for those guys.
Yeah, did a great job defensively, and the debate about Justin Fields continues. I know that Stacey and I are Fields supporters, but some people point to the fact that they're throwing passes behind the line of scrimmage. Everything is dink and dunk. He was 27 of 37, but he had those 2 fumbles in the fourth quarter that kind of detracted from the overall performance. It seems like they're asking him to play quarterback with one hand tied behind his back with the play calls by Vuk Ad.
Well, you know what? It's almost like they don't want him to throw the ball downfield. That's what it seems like. It's like we're not going to throw the ball downfield unless we absolutely have to. It's a last resort. Let the kid play, man. You got nothing to lose. You're not playing for a playoff spot. You're evaluating him. How can you evaluate him by throwing these dink and dime, 2-yard screens and not allowing him to use his athleticism, not allowing him to see if he can read defenses? Because, there was a time where he found DJ Moore like every single time that he went drop back to pass, he found him. And there was other guys out there too that were open. But man, it's almost like they say, it's like they have a dog collar on. If you throw it past 10 yards, I'm going to shock you. And so when he's looking at guys, he's looking at short yardage all the time where he's going to take off and run. Just take the training wheels off, Mark. Let him play. The only way you can get a fair evaluation on him is to let him throw the ball deep. Let him air it out more.
How good is that trade looking that Ryan Poles made with the number 1 pick last year? DJ Moore caught 11 passes for 114 yards against the Vikings, including that key 36-yard catch to set up the winning field goal. And then they've got Carolina's first-round pick for this coming draft, which could be number 1 overall. Where do you stand on the whole debate? I know some people want Caleb Williams. Some people want Drake May from North Carolina. Some people want to stick with Fields. That's going to be a tough call for Ryan Poles because not only are you looking at ability, you're looking at money because if you're going to extend Fields, it's going to cost you $35, $40 million a season.
Yeah, and I think that's the big decision right now because you'll have the rookie, salary cap basically with these new quarterbacks that come in, but you're going to have to pay them eventually too. So you're going to be in the same situation 3 years from now. Is Fields a franchise quarterback? We don't know. The guy's had different coordinators since he's been in the league. They haven't made an offense that's tailor-made for him. He's basically had to learn, trying to be Aaron Rodgers, the Red Rocket, what's the kid's name? What's the redhead guy, the Red Rocket? What's his name? They had him running his plays last year.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle.
Oh, the Red Rifle, the Red Rocket. I don't know what his name was. But that, they had him running his play set when he got hurt and they brought him in. And you would have thought, Mark, and we talked about this on the show during that time, that they would have had a package ready for him. That they could have put him in the game on third down or first down and say, okay, we're going to put him like they used to do Pittsburgh did with Cordell Stewart. And they bring in Cordell Stewart with a package. And then, he get a first down and they bring the starting quarterback back out. They've never really, in my opinion, the coaching staff has never really been sold on Justin Fields. It didn't seem that way. It just seems like they're just like, well, we're playing him because we have to play him. It's not like they're going out there and saying, hey, here's the ball, go win us a game. And I thought that big field goal, when they kicked the field goal to win the game, I thought that showed Justin Fields can do those things if you allow him to do it. Because that was a big-time throw. And that was a pressure situation for him to step up here and make that throw to DJ Moore. The catch was awesome. DJ Moore got open. I don't know how he got open because if you're the defensive coordinator for the other team, Minnesota stopped blitzing. They stopped sending blitzes and they went back into like a kind of a zone. And Justin Fields showed you that he could pick those zones apart when he has time. When he doesn't have time, that's where Justin struggles. Any young quarterback, Mark, and you know this, any young quarterback is going to struggle if you don't hit him with some run plays and you got a good running back and get you, 5 yards here and there. And if you don't pick up blitzes. And when he gets blitzed, his athleticism it gets him out of a lot of trouble. But they were sending blitzes from everywhere. And then all of a sudden they decide, we're not going to blitz anymore. We're just going to play a zone because we know they have to pass. And he picked them apart. That was a hell of a throw at the end to get that field goal. So all the people who hate Justin Fields, man, that's what you wanted to see. Can he win you a game? Can he say, okay, let's march down the field 50, 60 yards and let's go win this game? And I thought he did that, even though they didn't score a lot of points on those 4 turnovers. And that's where you really like to see him, really develop. They get 4 turnovers. Defense gets 4 turnovers. Let's at least score on 2 of those turnovers. But is it all Justin Fields' fault? Is it Getsy, the offensive coordinator? Is he not calling the plays to push the ball down the field to put pressure on Minnesota? Because when you get 4 turnovers, you want to go for the kill shot. And it was like, well, let's just dink and dime them. Let's throw little wide receiver screens that got blown up. It's like, come on, man, open up the playbook for this kid.
Yeah, you look at their schedule the rest of the way. I think they got a good chance to win maybe 3 or 4 more games before the season is over. I know some people want them to tank and get a better draft pick, but they're going to get a good draft pick courtesy of the Carolina Panthers. They play the Lions coming up next a week from Sunday. That's going to be tough, but they almost beat them in Detroit. I don't know why they couldn't beat them in Chicago. And then they've got some games coming up, against Cleveland, Atlanta, teams that maybe they might be able to handle. So I don't think the situation for the Bears is quite as bleak as some people would portray it, because you got the 2 first-round picks coming up. You got money to spend under the cap. I think this could come together pretty quickly, maybe as soon as next season, where they might be able to contend for the North.
Well, just think, if they get the number 1 pick and they get, the 3rd or the 4th pick where they can get the wide receiver, how about you trade the number 1 pick and kind of parlay that into multiple picks, and then address issues that you need. Offensive line help. Go get you an offensive lineman later in the first round, the second round. Go get Marvin Harrison Jr., because you can never have, enough great wide receivers. And I think that kid is a generational talent. I think you get that kid on your roster, and what we see with DJ Moore, if you put that kid on the other side, now you take away double teams. Now you get you a slot receiver, because those 2 guys are going to draw a lot of attention. You get you a good slot receiver, Komet, can play the middle of the field and become a Kelsey type of tight end, which I think he can. I think if they use him, use him that way, I think he can be a Kelsey, Gronk type of tight end, make big plays for you down the field, because he can get down the field more than 5 yards. He can stretch the defense too as a wide receiver type / tight end. So I'm looking at getting, trading that first pick, because, I don't know. And I like Caleb Williams, but again, you got to remember, he's like, 6 feet tall? He's like 6'1". He's a small quarterback. We got a chance to see him, and it's not all his fault, because their defense was atrocious for USC.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't win scoring 35, 40 points, that's not on him. I mean, as a quarterback, he drives you down. You're getting 40, 35 or 40 every time he's playing, and your defense giving up 50. So that's not all on him. But some of the throws that he makes, you go, wow, that's an awesome throw. But then there's other throws that he makes, you go, wow, why would he make that throw? Especially in those situations where, every possession counts now, because every time you score, they score. And it's going to be the last one with the ball, Mark, is going to be the last one that has the chance to win. And then you put your team in a bad situation by either, you fumble or you throw an interception and have a turnover.
Yeah, well, it is a huge weekend for college football. We've got the conference championship games coming up. We're going to talk college football, and then one of our favorite segments, what we're watching. That's next. Keep it right here. Give me the hot sauce. Rolls on. Hey, we're back. Give me the hot sauce. Whispers, I'm sorry, since we're in a remote location, I can't really see you getting ready to talk. You were going to say something the last segment. I rudely cut you off. What were you going to say?
Oh, no worries. It was about the Caleb Williams thing that, you get that argument about, okay, well, he's an improvisational player, but you're going to take away some stature, some speed. And then to Stacey's point about the coaching, would he be clipped at the wings and not be able to do some of the things he's allowed to do in college? And now you've actually traded down because you're putting yourself in a different position. I like the idea of trading it away and building around Fields still, even at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing. Obviously, we'll see if that Carolina pick remains number 1 overall.
Mark, were you in the locker room? Were you in the locker room after the game?
Yeah.
Was Poles in there celebrating with the team?
Yeah.
The dancing.
He gave Justin Fields a big hug.
Yeah,
like that.
Because you know what? Yeah. I saw that, and I didn't know if that was from that game, because we were, I don't know, where the hell were we in Boston? I don't know where we were. But I saw that, and I was like, is that this game? He's in there giving him love and dancing, and that's got to show that he likes the kid. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if he didn't like the kid, you ain't in there doing all that. So
Hey, Stacey, go ahead.
So my thinking is that people, he likes Fields more than what people think. Because I don't see you doing that if he's not your guy.
Right.
But he's got to put the act on.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He likes Williams. He's got to put that on. He has to.
I don't know, man.
They still get a kick out of this. Poles was walking laps around the football field before the game, and I was kind of stuck in one position doing live reports at 4, 5, and 6. So I'm kind of, getting ready to go on the air every half hour or so. And at one point, I mentioned something about Ryan Poles, and he was walking right behind me. So my cameraman goes, he gave me a dirty look when you walked by. and I wasn't saying anything bad about him. I just mentioned that he's got decisions to make, in the off season. So you never know. There's eyes everywhere.
Man, Mark, you know what would have been crazy if he, because he was an offensive lineman, right?
Yeah,
I know.
And then what if he just turned into a defensive lineman, just tackled you like right there, when you're doing a live shot.
Yeah, live TV.
That would have been viral.
Tackles a reporter.
Oh, that would have been viral.
Shanowski goes down.
Hey, but Shanowski, you been a rich dude. Hey, wait a minute. Let me tell you something. And then Poles would have tackled him, but Mark's hair would not have moved. Did y'all see? Did you see the game we were doing? Toronto? Was it Toronto? It was Toronto. So Mark's doing the game.
Toronto,
yeah, Mark's doing the game. He's doing play-by-play. Bulls versus Toronto, right? So a ball starts to come over to our table. Okay, so Mark misjudged it. I kind of misjudged it too because it looked like it was coming on a lower trajectory, and then all of a sudden it spun and went high. So Mark was like going low for it, and it went high, and it hit Mark's headset off, hit him in the head. And you know what? And so I was like, oh shit! I was like, Mark's got the reaction of a 60-year-old boxer. So Mark's put his headset back on, and I'm over there laughing. So I'm looking at Mark, and Mark's like giving me the signal like to talk, and I'm just sitting there like I'm just laughing. And so Mark's headset's all crooked, and so he puts his headset back on. I go, Mark, you took one for the team. But the hair never moved. The hair never moved. The hair never moved.
They call that the Jimmy Johnson defense. You're already wearing a helmet.
Hey, listen. And they showed America that Mark doesn't wear a toupee because he got good hair. Mark's got good salad.
That would have been gone.
Oh, yeah. That toupee, it would have been in somebody's popcorn. It would have been like, oh, my God, it's a spider. And Mark had been up there with the Terry Bradshaw look.
Have you seen that ad with Greg Olson? Where he takes... That just
that's a funny ad.
Greg Olson has a sense of humor, man. I like Greg Olson. Yeah. He's funny.
I was going to tell you another story about life on the road. Chuck Swirsky earlier in his career did Michigan basketball, so he's a big Michigan guy. So he and Matt gave me a call, said, "You want to go watch the game, the Michigan-Ohio State game with us?" So we walk into this bar, right down the street where we were in Brooklyn or in New York City, and it turns out to be a Michigan bar. Everybody's wearing their maize and blue and cheering like crazy on everything that happened. So the first score happens, and Swirsky's dancing like he does after the Bulls victory in this bar. No. And Matt Maniscalco got it on video, and Swirsky goes, "Hey, you got to delete that," because Matt was going to post it on social media, but Chuck was afraid he didn't want to offend any other college fans by rooting for Michigan.
Hey, you need to delete that.
Hello. Well, you got to delete that.
I was just doing a couple of twists and turns.
But his our guy Rich Wyatt is his choreographer now. They practice those dances before they put them on social media.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something.
Don't do that to Rich.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you something, man. He shouldn't be dragging Rich into that. It's just a matter of time before he tears an Achilles. It's just a matter of time. It's going to happen, and then he's going to fall on the court. Just stop, man. Just stop. But you know what? Good for him, though. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're old doesn't mean you're cold. Okay, and just because there's snow on the mountaintop, Mark, doesn't mean there's not a fire in the furnace for Chuck. Okay, he's living the dream, man. He's out there. He needs to put some tap dancing, put some tap shoes on, and tap. That would be pretty cool.
Well, Chuck loves what he does. There's no question about it.
Yeah, he does. Hardest working man in show business.
He loves his Michigan Wolverines. Do you think they have a shot at winning it all, Stacey? Michigan?
Yep.
Ooh, man. I don't know. Listen, the SEC is not strong right now. I mean, this might be as much as I like Georgia and Georgia's trying to go for the three-peat. This is not Georgia of the last 2 years. They're beatable, and they may get beat against Alabama, which in turn is going to cause a lot of shakeups. Because if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, which is very possible, now you got Texas who beat Alabama, and college football wants an SEC team there. You know that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Then you got Ohio State, who lost to Michigan in somewhat of a close game. They're still looking, on the outside looking in. So where do you put them? Then you got Florida State, who's, listen, Florida State losing Travis, their quarterback, really hurt them. They do not have a shot.
Not the best team.
They're not the best team. I mean, there's teams with 1 losses. Washington's a better team. Oregon's a better team than Florida State. If they were played head to head, those teams would beat Florida State easily without Travis. Travis is there. It's a different story. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. I don't know who they play in the ACC championship game.
Louisville. They're not very good.
No, it's
They're
over.
22 or something. Right?
Louisville?
They're ranked 22, right, Mark?
I think they're 14, but yeah, they lost to Kentucky last week.
Yeah, Kentucky beat them. So they're not a real. It's not a powerhouse. So so realistically, Florida State can run the table and be in the Final Four, and then get beat by 50 when it comes time to play against an Alabama or Georgia or Texas or Michigan. Yeah. Oh.
But Michigan, you got Harbaugh. He's
and
back.
Washington's playing Oregon right now. We're taping on a Friday night. Washington's playing Oregon for the Pac-12 championship. Remember, they played earlier this year. Washington won that game, so they're undefeated. They're up 10-0 in the second quarter. So obviously, if they sweep and go 13-0, Washington is in as well. So you probably have Georgia if they win against Alabama, Michigan, Washington, and then the 4th spot is probably Florida State. You could have 4 unbeaten.
Well, and then what? I mean, what if by chance Iowa upsets Michigan, which I don't see happening, but it could. It's on a neutral field. I mean. It could happen. It could happen. Michigan plays their worst game of the year against Iowa. It could happen. Now, what happens?
Texas would want to be in then. Mm-hmm. They'd have a claim because they only have 1 loss.
Well, same thing. They'll beat Oklahoma State tomorrow. Same thing with Alabama. If Alabama beats Georgia, how do you keep them out?
Well, then they'd be in over Georgia. I don't think you're going to take Alabama.
Well, Georgia would be out. Georgia would have to be out because this is why it sucks to lose games at the end of the year. All the teams who lost early, they don't get penalized. See, next year when the college tournament goes up to more teams, it's different then. You're going to have some 2-loss teams. You're going to have 1-loss teams. Yeah, but the way it's constructed now, you get penalized for losing late and you get rewarded for losing early, which kind of sucks. So, no one wants to lose at any point in the season, but it's almost better, Mark, to lose in the first 3 or 4 games because going into the rest of the season that other teams are going to fall and they're going to get beat, and then you're going to be able to move back up. And that's how Oregon got up there. Oklahoma, had they not lost to Oklahoma State, would be right in the mix now playing for the national championship because they would beat Texas in the Big 12 championship. So, and then if they won that, they're in the championship game with 1 loss.
And how about Alabama? They should be out already. Did you see the end of that game?
Let me tell you something, Mark. I'm going to tell you something.
4th and goal from the 31. How can you defend that play so poorly?
Who's the defensive coordinator should be fired?
Yeah.
Okay. You're first of all, you got to coach a running quarterback who's not really a good thrower. He looked like Tom Brady on that throw. That was a hell of a throw. That was like behind the defense in the corner of the end zone. They had rushed it down to like the 10-yard line, and then they had a bad snap that pushed them all the way back to like the 40. And you're like, okay, it's over now. There's no way in the world because they got to throw for a touchdown. There's no way in the world they're going to win. That kid sat back there, no pressure whatsoever. He just sat back there. He was scrambling around. Then all of a sudden, he heaved an unbelievable throw. I was watching it, and I was like, "There's no way you lose that way. There's no way." But that's what college football is all about.
And they only rushed 2 guys, and those guys gave up because there were 5 offensive linemen. So that quarterback, Jalen Milroe, was like, playing on the playground where you're counting to 10 Mississippi. Yeah. He could have stood back there forever.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to run because he would never made it. And the clock was running out because it got down to I think Georgia got the ball. I mean, not Georgia, but they got the ball with like 8 seconds to go or something. They ran a lot of time off the clock on that one possession. But it was a hell of a throw. And it was. In Alabama, I'm telling you, man, what's his name? Milrose? What's his name?
Milroe.
Jalen Milroe. Milroe has improved every week because you remember he got benched, in that Texas game. Yeah. And then the next week he got benched. And then all of a sudden, Nick Saban decided, you know what? He's our best option to win because of the ability to run the football. So they left him in there and they let him get confidence. And he's starting to throw the ball pretty damn good now, that he's been back there. And, one thing, it's in any sport, Mark, and you know this. If you got people that believe in you, like the head coach, your confidence goes super high. And so this kid's confidence is super high right now. The throws that he's making and able to run, they got a shot to beat Georgia. Georgia's not the powerhouse that we've seen over the last 2 years. They got a quarterback who hasn't been in a they've had some really really tight games the last 3 or 4 weeks where they had to fight from behind to win. So it's going to be a really, really good game tomorrow with Alabama and Georgia.
Hey, Mark, besides Stacey being an Alabama alumni, I heard TMZ caught Harbaugh out buying a couple new pairs of khakis to get ready for the championship game.
Yeah, that's for his job interview in Chicago.
Oh, is that what it's for?
Listen, man, leave Jim Harbaugh alone, man.
He loves his khakis.
Hey, listen, Harbaugh doing what everybody else does.
Triple pleats.
He just went too far with it, okay? He went too far with it. That's why he got caught.
Yeah.
You know, he thought he thought it was Michael Corleone. He was just going to be above the law, and he just went too far with it, okay? You can't put somebody on the sideline next to the coach and ask him, hey, what play you guys running next? Okay, and then get on the phone and call Jim.
What's the name of that play?
Fake mustaches.
Yeah, and then sunglasses and a mustache. Hey, Jim, I just got the play. I got the play right now. They're gonna run XYZ, boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's like we go in and we get an interception. So yeah, he's done. Coach has been doing it since the turn of time, you know. But what he did, he took it a little bit too far.
Hey, Carol, your mustache is falling off. And the sunglasses.
Yeah. He took it a little bit too far.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got to get back to work. So let's wrap it up with the what are we watching? Whispers. What are you watching these days?
I just watched Elf again for the 20th time. Wow, that's still great. I can't get enough of it. I mean, from when he leaves the North Pole, hey buddy, we'll see you later.
I watch it every year as well, but you know, hopefully they won't have a version of that like the Winnie the Pooh thing that Stacey did.
Ah!
Yeah, but then I want to see Peter Dinklage start killing people.
Yeah, the little guy
as an angry elf.
An angry elf. Yes.
Well, you're an angry elf.
Yeah, it can work. It can work. I like that. I like that idea. We
might be onto something.
Might need to put that in production.
Talking about the vulnerable, tomatoes and peaches.
Yeah. You could be chasing Kendra.
All right, Stacey, what do you got?
Wow. We're hitting a new low, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
I think Stacey got his headset knocked off. Maybe I'll go next. Hey, I was telling you guys last week about Fargo, new season on FX with John Hamm and the girl from Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
It is weird and creepy. The last year they had Chris Rock was the star on there. It's just an incredibly done show. And it is weirder than ever. So I would highly recommend if you like that kind of entertainment.
Super weird.
Fargo on FX.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to watch because I'm a big Barry Sanders fan. You know, I've known him for a long time, big fan, even though he went to Oklahoma State. So I got to watch his documentary, Bye Bye Barry.
Yeah.
Amazing. I recommend people watch that because I don't think people know how great of a running back he truly was. You know, they showed a thing is he should be the all-time leading rusher easily. And if he would have played another 4 years, that record, Emmitt Smith would have never been able to touch that record because he was so close. He was closer than Emmitt was to breaking it, and they've been in the league about the same time. So there would have been no way in the world that record would have been broke. But they showed a scene when he first got drafted, Detroit was a team that was just was not very good. And they draft this kid. Everybody in Detroit is so excited to see this kid. So they played the first preseason game. I don't know if it's the Cardinals or whatever. They decided not to play him. They said, we're not going to play him the first preseason game, because he came in late to training camp or whatever. So they don't play him in the first half. And people are booing. There's like 30, 40,000 in the old Pontiac Silverdome. So they're booing him, And he's sitting on the sideline. You could tell he wants to play. But they didn't put him out there. What's the coach? What's the coach name? Fonz?
Wayne Fonz.
Fonz doesn't want to put him out there. Don't want him to get hurt. He hasn't been in training camp long enough. They don't want to get hurt. He's their first round pick. He's not ready. So halftime comes up. They come out in the third quarter. They're still not going to put him out there. Then all of a sudden, they're like, okay, let's put him out there. We're down all these points. It didn't hurt to get him some reps, boom, boom. The first time he touched the ball, he goes off tackle for like 35 yards. And the crowd just went crazy. And then from that point on, that's when they knew they had something special. And when you look at some of the runs, like when you watch Walter Payton run, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch how he was able to do what he did but not having a good offensive line until probably the end of his career. He did a lot of stuff on his own. Barry Sanders was the same way. Mm-hmm. The offensive line was not very good. And he pretty much, everything that he did, like he would get hit 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still be able to get away from the people. And, just an amazing thing. And then they talk about his dad. His dad was his dad was really hard on him. So when they ask his dad who's the best running back of all time, he'd always say Jim Brown. And then he said he put Barry, third. And so they asked him, well, who's second? And then he said, well, me, because I was a better running back than. And supposedly he was really good when he was coming up, but he never gave the dad never gave Barry the recognition that he deserved. I always had him third. And, so when he had a chance to break the record and he didn't do it, his dad was upset about that because it's like, you had an opportunity, but they showed that Barry was like that all the time. He wasn't into records. He didn't care about the accolades. Like he had a chance to be the rushing leader as a rookie. He had a chance when Christian Okoye from Kansas City, he had rushed earlier that day. He was only like 70 yards from, beating Okoye. So he's getting ready to break the record. I think it was like 1,800. And he had a chance to break it. And he pulled himself out because they were beating whoever they were beating 35-7. And he didn't go for that. And his linemen were so upset. They're like, hey, we want you to do this because this is, this helps us out. We got a Russian title on our resume. And he just wasn't into that. And it was really cool, really humble superstar, always handed the ref the football, never spiked it, never danced, and he said, the reason why he did that was when he was younger, the father used to tell him all the time, like I think he did a dance one time, he was in youth league, and the dad said, don't ever do that. Act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And then that's where he got that from. So it's an amazing documentary. I urge people to go check it out.
What streaming service is it on?
It is on Prime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, check that out. No question about it.
Yeah.
Is Mike with you tonight, Stacey?
No, Mike's taking the day off. He's taking the Doublemint twins out to dinner. And
right.
he's got the Doublemint twins, and he's got the what's the red gum? Big Red. He's got the Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red.
Yeah, he's got a girl with red hair, and he called her Big Red. So he's got 3 girls out tonight.
And to the Cerberus as always.
The Cerberus. In that dirty pool. No telling what bacteria is in that pool.
You get there and you go, I paid for this.
Oh, my God. You take one of those black lights, you can see all kind of stuff on there. Like, come see the Cerberus. This is one of the nicest places when you want to spend a romantic evening. And she'll like it, too. No, she won't. Not knowing how dirty that place is.
Let's get out of here.
It sounds like a man code violation.
It is a man code violation.
All right, Stace, tell the folks how they can take advantage of the best limousine service in Chicagoland.
Hello, America. Shut up, Tim. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination or the Cerberus in style and on time. Contact Windy at 847-916-9300. That's 847-916-9300. Or visit WindyCityLimos.com and ask for my man, Mike Amaroth, who also doubles as a bodyguard for you. So if you get in trouble, this guy's like a 5th-degree black belt. He'll take people down. You don't have to worry about it. And he'll go, if you're coming into the airport, Mike will not only wait for you, Mike will go out on the tarmac and get your bags and bring them to the car. Now, that's service. That is service. Just make sure you tip Mike very well because he deserves it. If he's going to protect you with his 5th-degree black belt and he's going to go out on the tarmac to get your bags when it's freezing outside, make sure you take care of him. Tell him Stacey sent you.
Hey, Whispers, is Sour Byron still getting you beers? I saw him.
Yeah, he went and grabbed me one, which was nice. Is
he still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's angry about everything.
Tell him to wave goodbye for the big goodbye. Bring him on in.
There's another room. Hey, Byron.
Byron, get in here, you sour puss.
Hey, you nasty fan.
The voice of the people, Sour Byron.
He's the voice of the people. That's his name, the voice of the people.
All right.
Here he is right here.
Say bye to everyone and tell them,
Sour Byron.
I hope it gets better at some point.
Stand behind the two of them. Stand behind
right back here.
Wave goodbye to America. Yeah.
Right back here, Byron, between us here.
Slide over.
Got to take direction.
Bye, everyone.
All right.
The voice of the people.
Dee did a great job today handling everything. Is he by himself today?
Yeah, he was by himself. He was by himself.
Listen,
he's
above and beyond.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something.
We're gonna double his salary, which I think.
Listen, it's the Iron Mike T-shirt that did it. Though. Look at him. He's tough as Tyson over there.
Hey, don't be saying that, Mark. And it doesn't happen. They'll attack you. They turned on me. Hey, borderline abusive, toxic. They'll attack you. Oh my goodness.
He gets 2 bottles of hot sauce this week.
I gotta watch myself. I gotta watch myself going to the car park. I might get a tick.
Hey, you're gonna get Pablo to be your bodyguard.
Oh my God!
Get you to the car.
Hey, America.
He wants to kill Stacey.
America, let me tell you something, America. Let me tell you something. We run a sweatshop over in America. Okay, but no, we're not. I'm just playing. America. Listen, here's a message to all the people out there who watch our show. If you know anything about podcasting, you know how to do electronics, you know how to do anything, give us a call. We're always looking to get
info at GimmeTheHotSauce.com.
Yes, we're always looking to get young help, guys who want to try to get in this business. So make sure if you know anything about podcasting, you know how to work the boards, you know how to, whatever. We take everybody. And by the way, you don't get paid. So we're just going to tell you that right out front.
Now, how do they get turducken?
You get free beer, though, and pizza and wings. That's all we can offer you right now.
Stacey keeps lowering the bar. I thought he was going to wrap it up by saying if you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Listen, Mark, we don't want to offend our people, right? Okay? Listen, if you come in here and you're professional and, you take jokes, because trust me, we're going to ride you. We're going to joke on you. So, if you're wearing tight shirts where we see your heart beating, you like to wear thongs, and you don't shave your legs, we're going to talk about you, okay? We're just going to talk about you. So we just want you to know that. But on a serious note, if you're interested and you want to work, call us.
And 2024, you have to pay us to come here.
Wow, this keeps getting worse. Time to wrap it up, Stacey.
Hey, drive home safe to Chicago. Beep, beep.
Oh, my goodness.